In the summer of 1819, Keats and his friend James Rice left for an extended stay on the Isle of Wight off the southern coast of England. Keats had spent time alone on the isle in the spring of 1817, reading Shakespeare and receiving the inspiration that led to the long poem Endymion, as well as some of his most famous insights about the nature of art. He hoped the 1819 journey would prove equally invigorating, but he was distracted by his troubled love for Fanny Brown. Keats had met her in December 1818, but he was having trouble fully committing to their relationship. He wrote several letters to Fanny during his stay on the isle, and one in particular seems to give insight into bright star would I wear steadfast as thou art. The speaker of the poem wishes he were as eternal as a star that keeps watch like a sleepless solitary and religious hermit over the moving waters and the soft fallen mask of snow. But while he longs for this unchanging state, he does not wish himself in lone splendor. Rather, he longs to be awake forever and pillowed upon my fair love's ripening breast. Unfortunately, these two desires, to experience love and to be eternal, do not go together. To love, he must be human, and therefore not an unchanging thing like the star. The speaker seems to reveal an awareness of this in the final line of the poem. He wishes to live ever in love, but to be in love means to be human, which means that the speaker and the love he feels for the woman will change and eventually die. The only other possibility he can imagine is to swoon to death. This can be interpreted to mean that he wishes to die at a moment when he is experiencing the ecstasy of love. Despite the awareness that the speaker seems to express about the paradox of having love and immortality, the poem as a whole can also be seen as the speaker's plea to have both of these qualities, however impossible that may be. Let's see the summary of the poem. In the opening lines, the poet establishes the image of the star that is the central focus of the poem. The star is said to be eternal, patient, unchanging, sleepless, and beyond the speaker's immediate grasp, aloft. The star is described as watching over earth rather than being watched by someone. As a result, pushes the speaker's presence out of the octave. The poem's first 8 lines, the word I is mentioned only in the first line. This is indicative of a change that occurred in Keats's work as his career progressed. His earlier poems are more concerned with self-conscious and personal matters, but his later work, such as Bright Star, Would I Were Steadfast as Thou Art, include a more harmonious acceptance of nature for what it is beyond the self's interpretation of it. The second part of the octave describes what the star watches. Here two symbols emerge, both suggesting the idea of pureness. The first is the moving waters the star watches over. The waters here take on a spiritual significance, their ablution suggesting religious purification, a priest-like task that is performed on the human shores. The second symbol is contained in the image of snow, the new soft fallen mask that covers the mountains and the moors. By introducing these images, the speaker seems to identify with those things that can, in some sense, make humans pure or spiritual. Perhaps he feels this to be a variation of human life, the changes and eventual decay that result in death. In the sestet, the speaker turns from the star's existence to his own. Keats uses related imagery to emphasize this process. In lines 5 and 6, he spoke of the moving waters washing the shore, an image that suggests the rising and falling of ocean waves. In line 11, the reference is made to the soft fall and swell of the woman's breast, which also suggests water and waves. In comparing himself to the star, The speaker wishes for something the star does not have, steadfastness without solitude. Though he wishes to be still unchangeable like the star, he wishes his eternity to be in the context of human love, to be pillowed upon his love's breast. The breast itself, a symbol of fertility, is described as ripening. But while fertility is the organic basis of life, the star's steadfastness is aloft, or far above such this process. Thus a paradox is created. While the star is merely watching the moving waters, the speaker wishes to actually feel his love's living body. His desire in lone splendor, but rather to be in unchangeable proximity with his love, to be, in other words, eternally human. This, of course, is impossible. The qualities that make the star eternal are non-human ones. While the star fails to sense the procession of time, it is patient. The speaker envisions an eternity of sweet unrest. Thus, in the final two lines, there are two mutually exclusive possibilities. On the one hand, the speaker can live in the sensual experience of love, which, because it is characterized by the slipping away of apparent time, seems to be forever. Failing that, the speaker hopes he might swoon to death at the moment of purest happiness. The qualities that Keats attributes to the star in the poem are the qualities of the artist. It is said to be watching with eternal lids apart, while remaining uninvolved in the events that it is witness to. In this particular case, the observations are made of nature, which is described as being holy, priest-like acts, while the star that observes them is also described with the religious term, eremite. There is a difference in their religious qualities, though, as the observer keeps away from the situation. It all adds up to the reverent stance that Keats took toward his artistry and the things that he wrote about, particularly when the subject matter was nature, which he held in the kind of esteem that many people reserve for God. To Keats, it was the artist's goal to be able to observe and fully understand his subject without interfering with it, so that it could be recorded as it existed with no bias or interference. The reference in line 7 to gracing the mask of snow might be meant to imply that as the poet saw it, the star could undo the mask to know the reality beneath. Or it could mean that observing the contours of the mask closely enough could lead one to understanding what the mask hides. Keats's view of the relationship between the artist and experience is somewhat unique and unexpected from a poet who led an active life. In countless novels and memoirs are seen trying to immerse themselves in experience in order to give themselves true understanding of their subjects. In this poem, Keats draws a line between observation and experience, presenting the two as mutually exclusive, so that a person cannot try as he might have both at the same time.